Sorry, none of these look like basketball logos. I've never seen this in my life.
Damn, that look like where an axe murderer is keeping all this stuff in the closet.
Oh, the New York Yankees.
Insurance.
Buffaloes, right?
Somebody kill a moose.
This is the Brooklyn Bridge
yeah.
in a basketball.
Two question mark trying to make love.
I don't believe that that's a real one.
Pelicans.
No, look like.
It's a pelican.
No, it's not a pelican. You know what it is?
What is it?
I know what it is. That's an alien land in Coney Island.
Something out in the middle of the country.
Lionsgate basketball.
PD, Police Department.
Shazam!
Tigers, LSU Tigers.
Pennsylvania.
Phillies?
The Stallions.
The sunset and the moon had a baby.
The exploding field goal.
Honestly, the Hot Chili Peppers.
KFC.
Ant-Man's wife.
76.
76 and stars.
Yeah.
Mr. America captain baseball team.
LA Ball?
Arr!
Basketball on fire.
On fire, yeah.
Ring on fire, basketball.
Wow.
Oh.
Mariners.
No, the Rockies.
The Clovers.
The Blue Bears.
We're working, we're in the lab, and we're gonna make sure this happens as soon as possible.
Welcome to an episode of the Sports Genes Into the Lab podcast, where sports analysts and experts dissect the latest news from the NBA and NFL, giving you a unique view on some of the hottest topics around your favorite teams. From the fresh field smells of the NFL to the hardwood courts of the NBA, and possibly your comfy couch for your fantasy football team. Let's see what kind of news the lab is working with today. Here's your host from the Sports Analytics headquarters in San Antonio, Texas, Ernest Silva.
We are back. We are back. Exciting stuff happening here in San Antonio. I am your host, Ernest Doc E. Silva, in the house with a familiar face you've had for the past few weeks. Chris Connor with the Last Call podcast. What's up, brother?
Not much. I'm getting over the Canelo versus Oscar De La Hoya sort of brouhaha on the Canelo Munguia pay-per-view sort of pre-fight press conference. So I'm ready to rock and roll for some basketball and football, and just enjoying the night before Friday, which everybody loves Fridays.
Absolutely. And of course, if we were a boxing show, I definitely would be talking Canelo, Oscar De La Hoya, and hoping they would fight, right? Since we're getting a bunch of old timers against newbies anyways, might as well see some more fun. Making his wrestling appearance.
If Netflix is going to pay for it, make it happen.
Exactly. making his appearance like a wrestling man backstage. Here he comes, Kenny Cotterill, the co-host of season 5. What's going on, my man?
Hey man, thanks for having me. I know I've been away for a couple weeks, been a little bit hectic with work, but I'm here to chat some NFL and NBA.
It's good to see you, Kenny.
Thank you.
I missed you, buddy. Yeah. All right. Well, today's a special episode for a number of reasons. We are going to talk some NFL draft. We're going to talk some of your favorite teams. We're going to go over our favorite teams today, but we're also going to talk some NBA action. Been a lot of brooms taken out today in the NBA this season. So we're going to talk about some of those gentlemen sweeps and some of those sweeps happening in the NBA. But first off and foremost, it's a special episode tonight. Special episode because we have some announcements and shout outs. Before anything, though, tonight's episode powered by the Sport Gene, one of our newest and up and coming companies here that we have fallen into, hopefully growing here in San Antonio and across international lines with our Canadian partners there with Kenny and Andrew. And excited to see you back in front of me, Kenny, because we have a big month this month. We have a lot of stuff happening, a lot of fun stuff happening for us, and I can't wait to get things started. But I'm not going to tease anymore. I have a fun teaser. You may know him as my producer, but Londo has held a special near and dear place for me. He's supposed to be on camera. He's not. So we hope you're watching, Londo. Hope you and Rach are watching somewhere. But happy freaking birthday, my guy. Happy birthday. Londo had his birthday, celebrates. I'm not going to give his age away. But I am going to say I have known...
43.
Yeah, for a very long time. So this is a shout out to Londo. I had Mark do some digging. For those of you who don't know Londo, we've been through the years through a lot, but he's also a singer. If you don't know that about him, and so we dug up an old picture of Londo and wanted to make sure he got his moment of fame. Happy birthday to the man, the myth, the legend, Orlando Mendoza, man. There is Londo front and center right there in choir. You'll see him right here. Look at that young stud there. There you go, Londo. The bass there in high school choir. Very excited. I see some other familiar faces in there. I'm not going to call them out, but right there is Londo. Happy birthday, my guy. I think you deserve it. Hope you're enjoying your week, my guy. And I wouldn't be able to do this show without you. I wouldn't be able to do most of the things without you. But of course, we have a regular, Frank Labuda, in the comments section. Get it. Appreciate you, my guy. Appreciate you. Share it, like it. Hopefully you're in tune to the NBA playoffs. I took the words out of my mouth. Philly, what a comeback. Philadelphia, the game. If you guys haven't been watching playoffs, has been fun. Giannis is out, among other things. Philadelphia 76ers. Absolutely stunning win in New York. And we'll talk about that later. But another big shout out on this show, and I have to mention it because I said it's going to be a special announcement. Happy birthday, Dad. Dad's birthday as well happened. Yep, happy birthday. It's a big one for him, too. I'll announce that one. Big 6-0, right? 6-0. Happy birthday, Dad. I hope you got to celebrate as much as you wanted to. And I hope you're watching the show tonight somehow, some way, because I don't think you have Facebook or anything like that. So somehow, some way, we'll get the video in front of you so you know I did shout you out. And last but not least, the reason why tonight is also special is because I do have my family here in town watching the show live for the first time in person. So they're getting to watch this. And they have it on the screen, so they're getting like a 5-second delay. So I get to see myself the whole entire time, which is lovely. But they get to actually hear me doing my crazy talks and trying to keep myself composed. So let's go right into it, into round number 1, and we transition straight into our NFL analysis right here on ITL. All right, round 1, NFL draft analysis. We're going to kick things right off, right into the right conversation. It's the Dallas Cowboys. I wanted to talk Dallas Cowboys for a number of reasons. They're not the hottest team right now. Matter of fact, a lot of people don't like what the Cowboys are doing this offseason. I thought, for one, and I am a homer, but I thought, for one, they had a pretty good draft. And I actually want to send out my kudos to the front office because I thought they addressed the needs that were needed in the draft process. And I know I may be disagreed with on this show, but Kenny, what were your takes on the Dallas Cowboys first off and foremost with this draft?
Yeah, I think when you think about this draft, you heard a lot about all the weapons that were available. Very wide receiver heavy draft, and Dallas made the decision that they had other needs. And so I think they went out and addressed those. The offensive line is obviously getting older. I'm glad that they didn't reach on like a running back or anything like that, although wasn't thrilled with the move that they made recently at that position. So I think it's a fine draft for them. Nothing splashy, but it's just addressing some needs.
I completely agree, and I want to go through some of those draft picks the Cowboys had in just a second. Chris Connor, you're not the homer here on camera, so for you, Dallas Cowboys, for you, did what?
I would say for them, it's sort of a wait and see. I love some of the picks I love. People I talk to don't. I mean, you look at the first round pick of Marius Mims for the Cowboys. Can he play right away, or is this going to be a red? Sorry, Tyler Guyton. I mean, is he going to play right away? Is he a red shirt? We're not sure. I know they're saying that eventually he'll move to left tackle, but if you go on lastcallpodcast.com, we talked to Price Carter. His feeling is Tyler Guyton is just a guy that looks great, looks impressive, but he's not sure about the footwork. He's not sure about the hand placement. It just seems like it was safe. They didn't do anything wild, but you're going, okay, what's the plan? And their defensive line is still a C for basically running attacks.
Right. I like the Tyler Guyton pick. So I went on MTMV Sports. I did a mock draft. I did reach. I went Jonathan Brooks just to shake things up and have fun and make them all controversy, right? Like that was going to happen the entire way. But I told them if I was drafting for real, I would have gone with Tyler Guyton with that pick because it's the right pick. We need a big left tackle. Jerry Jones goes right after those Sooner players. There's a huge pipeline going from Sooners to Cowboys. We've known it over the years. I like the fit. I thought that was the right play personally. And I thought that the Cowboys had a great draft overall. I'm looking over my list right now in the grades, right? Like Marshawn Nealon addressed a need. Cooper Beebe addressed a need and was probably the best player at that pick. And I thought it was a phenomenal job by the front office to grab the player there. I love the I'm gonna screw up this name, but the Leo Fowl, the linebacker from Notre Dame. I love that depth pick there. And then you get a flyer wide receiver in Flournoy. You go offensive tackle and then defensive tackle to end it. I gave the Cowboys an A. I liked the draft a lot. And I thought it addressed a lot of needs. There's going to be holes there, right? Stephon Gilmore still working out a contract. CeeDee Lamb still working out a contract. You have a lot of players on the fence on whether they're coming back or not. You lost 16 players this offseason. Like you're going to have new names now into the rotation. And so that kind of brings me to a familiar name that Kenny kind of brought up, right? Ezekiel Elliott is back. So the big hit was the Cowboys have nobody to run the freaking ball, right? And it was like, oh, they've got to grab a back eventually. And they went the entire draft not grabbing a back that is known by the masses, which really pissed off a lot of people. Kenny, Ezekiel Elliott is back. And you said you're not a big fan of that move. Why?
Because we got rid of him because Pollard was the better running back, and then we ditched Pollard and brought back Zeke. So they're going to be pretty one-dimensional this year, unless one of these other backs that we have there not named Zeke step up and actually start to do a bit more in the running attack. So, I mean, there's other running backs that were out there that they probably could have brought in, and I get it. Jerry's probably got a bit of a soft spot for Zeke because he's still getting his rookie year flashbacks, but that was a long time ago, and I don't know. I don't love the pick. I don't see why you need to bring him back. It's not like he was some game breaker with New England last year.
Chris Connor, for you, what was your take on Ezekiel Elliott?
I mean, I'm not as down on it as Kenny is. I mean, look, he did a pretty good job in New England considering Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones are the quarterback. So teams just basically stacked the box on, okay, you know what, run. We know you can't pass the ball. So he's inexpensive. It's not, I don't think Jerry wanted to pay big money in multiple years for a running back because, well, running back is no longer, a big position of need in the NFL. Look, he knows the offense. He's a big back. He can, go. You can score touchdowns when they're on the goal line, not get stood up. So they have bigger needs. I mean, I was more just disappointed that it was like, all right, make a trade, trade up and, try to get somebody higher than Tyler Guyton or try to get, move some of these guys that you probably might part with, whether it's CD Lamb, whether it's Gallup, even if it's like a 5th or 6th round pick, just something, rather than just, well, we're going to redo the whole thing next year all over again because this just feels like, well, I'm going to blow it up. I'm going to let Dak walk, and I'm going to blow it up in 2025.
I don't think we're tanking by any means, right? There's our first meet of the night. I'm not going to not call myself out, right? There's number one. 2.5 is
not tank. Just it's like, all right, it is what it is. That's what this year. If we don't win the whole thing, I'm blowing the whole damn thing up. And maybe that means we get our dream scenario. Deion Sanders, Shador Stevens, 2025, Prime and Baby Prime, Ernest Silva radio show.
You are really pushing that agenda of the Sanders family coming back to Dallas. I will say this for the topic, right? Like, if we're going to talk about Ezekiel Elliott, which I'd love to talk about, I like Ezekiel Elliott coming back for short yardage situation, for inside the 20 situations. And if you feel like Dowdle or somebody else can pace the first and second down better, or you have some sort of insight that there is a leap going to happen, then okay, right? Like, we'll see it this year. I don't know if they see that. I think if Brooks would have fallen, we probably take him in the second round. I think that was probably who you're shooting for. I don't know if any other back was worth it more. And Zeke is Dak's best friend. Zeke is the guy that is coming in to hold Dak's hand the last year here in Dallas as it goes freaking crazy, right? Like, this is the guy that's going to probably ride out this wave as McCarthy and Dak don't come back if they don't make the NFC Championship or Super Bowl. Like, this is going to be a huge turnover in Dallas. I feel that way about this, Kenny. Like, I feel like this is the pivotal year, right? Does Dak continue as a Cowboy, or does he go to Las Vegas, right? Or does he go to another team that needs a quarterback, Phil?
I mean, we already know what's going to happen in 8 months. The Cowboys are going to go 11-6. They're probably going to lose in the wild card round. At the very best, they lose in the divisional round, and then we'll wonder why that keeps happening, and it's because they don't actually make any significant changes. They brought in Mike McCarthy, of all people, who couldn't get over the hump for a long time. Yes, he won the early Super Bowl with Rodgers, but then continually couldn't get over the hump in the playoffs, and now we're expecting a different result in Dallas. I think we all know where it's heading in 8 months' time, and we're probably just in denial, and we'll keep hearing about how great they are when they beat the bad teams, and then when they have to play the San Frans, the Detroits, the Phillies of the world, then they'll get humbled.
Yep. And Dan's in the comments, so I'm going to go ahead and comment on it. Dan says running back by committee, as long as the fans buy merchandise and tickets, we keep feeding the Joneses. I got in a fight with somebody about that last year, and I agree, but I'm going to still buy more merchandise this year. I don't know what to tell you. And then the O-line is the need. The playoff teams, in comparison to Dallas, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think we addressed O-line. And I do think Dak gave back the money to bring on Zeke, but I don't think that was intentional. I think that was to give some variability to the money so we can sign other players and bring back some key components. I do think Stephon Gilmore will be that next big signing for Dallas, so just keep a lookout for that. Let's hit on a couple of teams before we go to the controversies of the draft. Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams, Chicago Bears make a big splash. That was always going to happen. It's no surprise. Kenny, what does this do for moving the needle with Chicago? I like their draft too. If we want to dissect it, I love the Rome pick at number 9. They address offensive line. They go deep with some punting and defensive end work there. I have the Bears at an A- for the draft. How about you?
I mean, yeah, you got what's supposed to be the generational quarterback at 1. They already made moves in the offseason to bring in Swift, to bring in Keenan Allen. DJ Moore was already there. Then they take a top 10 wide receiver for him. Like, Chicago has everything for Caleb Williams to succeed in year 1. the toughest thing for him will be having to face Green Bay twice and Detroit twice because they are still the better teams in the division. Caleb, if he is this generational guy, that's going to make that one hell of a dogfight in that division for the next decade. But I think it's a good draft for them. They had to move on from Fields. They knew that when they got that Carolina pick last year, and I think that it'll be exciting to watch.
We got a question from Twitch before we go to you, Chris Connor. Will Caleb have a Stroud-like rookie year? I'll let you take that first take, Chris Connor. Do you feel like Caleb Williams has what he needs in Chicago to break out like Stroud?
He does. I don't know if he has a temperament, but I think, he has the talent. He has the piece. I mean, Roman Odunze and DJ Moore alone. You throw in Keenan Allen, I love Kieran Amagaje because he's just a nasty offensive lineman who can play left tackle, who plays with an edge. I think he's a sleeper to be an immediate starter right off the bat. And look, it's either hit or miss with this coaching staff. It's either you get Caleb up to speed very quickly and he has that breakout, or hey, watch out for the Brian Johnson watch in 2025 when the Bears looking for a new head coach.
Yeah, exactly. I think Caleb Williams is a smash hit. I think he fits right in. It's a better fit than what you saw in Carolina last year, which is a good segue to our next topic. But I love the Caleb Williams pick. He's going to own stock in the Bears, apparently, and he's going to fit right in like a glove. They've addressed offensive line the last 2 or 3 years. I think that's going to be the big question mark, is keep Caleb Williams off his back. But I think there's talent all around him. Can the defense stay stout enough in a very tough division that features good quarterback play, great defenses, and a bunch of up-and-coming teams? So the NFC North is no joke. Kenny, your take, 30-second take, Caleb Williams and the Bears.
I think they'll be fine. I think they're still the third best team in the division. That's what it boils down to. But they can make strides this year with the moves that they've made. And I would agree with Chris Connor. Kind of depends how the coaching staff handles it as well.
And there you have it. Let's segue over to the Carolina Panthers. Another quick hit here. Chris Connor, you were big on Carolina last year and not giving enough weapons and protection to their stud quarterback. Just to highlight, right? South Carolina wide receiver Xavier Leggett, which was a favorite for a lot of people this year, goes to Carolina. The Texas duo of Brooks and Sanders goes there. Couldn't be happier. And then defense the rest of the way. Carolina, I thought, had a very sneakily good draft with lots of potential. Chris Connor, your take on Carolina?
Mixed. I like Xavier Leggett. That's a great pick. I hate Jonathan Brooks for the second round. I'm sorry. You don't need running backs. I mean, the Bills have proven that. The Chiefs have proven that. Even, the Ravens have proven you can find running backs in like the third, fourth, fifth, even seventh round. Second round, I would have liked to have seen him take like an offensive lineman, or maybe even, dare I say, a pass rush, because they traded away Brian Burns and they didn't get much for him. So, I'm sorry, I hate it. I like Javon Sanders. I know he's a Texas boy and he's tight end. That'll help Bryce Young. Xavier Leggett's going to be big, but god damn, a off-ball linebacker in the third round, which was like, okay, but he's just average, Trevor Lawrence. And Jonathan Brooks, it's just, I'm sorry. No, god damn it, no.
Chris Connor, the more you keep talking about Jonathan Brooks that way.
It may be funny to you, motherfucker, but it's not funny to me, okay?
More I want to keep playing that clip.
Texas boy. He is a Texas boy, so you love all your Texas guys. It's like, hey, come here, give me a big hug.
I think Brooks
ignore that nasty Chris Connor. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Running backs are awesome. God damn it. Isaiah Pacheco was a 7th round draft pick. You don't need to spend a second round on a running back.
But he's not. So Isaiah Pacheco is not Bijan Robinson, though. Like, Isaiah Pacheco is not this stud running back, top of the class running back that you're going to get. Like, I get what you're saying, but the Panthers also need that stud back there. They don't have it. That's my personal opinion. I thought it was a great pick. Kenny, you haven't given your thoughts on the Panthers.
I mean, but to Chris Connor's point, like with all the teams that you just mentioned, they have all pro caliber quarterbacks. Like Bryce Young is not there yet. he is going to need some help. Like Chuba Hubbard, no wonder he's getting sacked so much. They are not worried about the run game at all with Carolina. Could they have maybe waited 1 round later, 2 rounds later? Sure, but this was the worst offensive core of weapons in the NFL by far last year. You had Deontay Johnson, you had Xavier Legette, and now you had Jonathan Brooks. At least you're giving this guy an opportunity to see, okay, we gave up all this draft capital to go and get Bryce Young. Is he actually going to be anything? Because you couldn't make a fair argument for him last year because Adam Thielen was the only target that he had that you could name. So I think at this point you can at least evaluate Bryce Young over the next year or two because he's going to have pieces that you can actually evaluate him with.
No more excuses in Carolina. The Houston Texans I want to hit just because we have so many Houston Texans following on this show. I thought they had a very good draft as well. I have them at a B+, A-. I just want to highlight the addition of Cade Stover later on in this draft, mid-draft day 2. I thought was a phenomenal pick. You bring an up-and-coming tight end, and you bring another weapon to give to Stroud. All the way around, I loved their draft. I thought they had a great day 1 and a great day 3. Any comments on the Houston Texans? I know they were quieter than most teams, but I just thought the additional rotation pieces they got, filling in some holes, I thought was just phenomenal. Chris, Connor, or Kenny, either one of you, any thoughts on the Texans?
Mine is just it's safe, and I've got Katie the most of the talk. But to me, it was like, all right, safe picks. Their big thing was free agency, so the draft is sort of like icing on the cake.
Yeah, they made their splashy moves already. You brought in Diggs, you brought in Mixon, round out the rest of the roster. That's what you need. It's clear that the defense needs to get just a little bit better, and they added a couple pieces that can help with that.
There you have it. Controversies of the draft is going to be next. Let's transition right into that as we talk about some players. Controversies of the draft is brought to you by HotWorks, one of the newest sponsors of Into the Lab. HotWorks, a studio where you can not only get your workout in, but do it while sweating profusely. I have become a member myself. It's worked wonders. I see my health getting better. I see my weight getting better. And at first I thought it was some Chinese restaurant, but it's not. It's actually a workout place. So do not take chopsticks, take some mats and go work out. All right. Controversies of the draft. First off, foremost, Adonai Mitchell fell, and he fell by, roughly 15 picks for most. And the reason being was that he had poor interviews and apparently wasn't engaged, which then prompted the Colts front office to defend him and defend his honor in national media. Guys, is this just a front for Indy to say, hey, we just took the best player? Or do they really believe in this guy? Adonai Mitchell has always been a character, just so you guys know. I know he's a Texas guy too, but he's come from other programs. He's always been a character. Kenny, did you think it was a front, or has Adonai Mitchell really got some issues?
I mean, it probably is just the Colt. They made the pick. You're going to have to defend it. So standing up for the guy is just natural. Maybe he does have problems, but we heard character problems with guys like Micah Parsons coming into that draft. And I'm not saying that Adonai Mitchell is going to be the caliber of player that Micah Parsons is, but at the very least, it's not the first time that we've heard of character concerns, and then a guy can go on to be pretty good in the league. So if you're the Colts, you're in a division you got to compete with the Texans right now. So take a little bit of a flyer on a guy with some character issues. Hopefully he lives up to as good of a player as he can be. So I was fine with the pick.
You were as far as a bullet. Texas is in the national championship. Instead, he lofted it. I still swear Mitchell would have caught it. Chris Connor, 30-second take on Adonai Mitchell.
A bit of both. I mean, and look, once again, Price Carter, check him out once again, lastcallpodcast.com and Arrowhead Addict. He talked about the fact that, look, Adonai Mitchell had some issues in college. There was talk of him sometimes, dogging it on plays where he's not getting the ball, or it's a run play. Does he have character issues? Yeah. Is that different from most of the wide receivers who are in the NFL?
True.
Not really. I mean, if anything, it's my bone. If I'm a GM or a special owner, I'm asking my coach, why is it you can't handle these prima donnas if you don't want them? I mean, the Texans got Stephon Diggs. That guy alone is just a nutbag. So it's like, okay, yes, he has issues. this is what wide receivers are. They are divas. You got to put up with them, and you just go, okay, just don't be like a Tyreek Hill or an Antonio Brown, and I'll be happy.
Yep, I completely agree. We have some comments coming through. Let's see. Dan says, must be a reason why he left Georgia to go to UT. Stark kept him in check, though. He's a stud. He needs a tough coach, so better be up and ready there in Indy. And he'll join some other UT alum there. A lot of people, though, in this draft very early, day one, popcorn hasn't even settled in the bowl yet, looked a lot like this.
What? What?
That's Michael Penix Jr. going to the Falcons, and it was a lot of fun to watch his name roll across and then watch all the analysts scramble for their notes because they didn't expect Penix's name for a few picks. I love the pick. I thought it was phenomenal. I'm going to go last because I'm probably in the minority here. Chris Connor, why does Michael Penix Jr. make so much sense for Atlanta?
It's a bit complicated. I mean, look, I would have loved it more if he was just go win all the Cousins. Go all in for Penix. Forget Cousins. You signed Kirk Cousins, so it's like, okay, what are you doing here? I mean, I get the thinking behind it. I like the thinking, but at the same time, it's like, okay, if you're going all in and you want to expect to win a Super Bowl the next 2 years, I would have loaded up on defense or loaded up on offense. Instead, it's like, okay, they're hedging their bets. It's good, but it's like, okay, you're basically causing a lot of drama for Raheem Morris, a young coach with Cousins, Penix, and that whole sort of drama in the locker room.
I completely agree. I don't think it was necessary. You saw the front office talking right now, but it was really celebrating. Kenny Cotterill, do you like Penix going to Atlanta now?
I was fine with the pick. I mean, the thing that the Falcons get killed for is the last 4 years in the top 8, they've picked skill guys. Pitts hasn't panned out. London's pretty solid. Bijan's pretty solid. And now they go and get Penix. And I think a lot of people felt like the Falcons just needed a quarterback last year to win that division because there was not a lot of competition in that division. But what the problem is that you gave Kirk Cousins 4-year contract. And look, I don't even think he's going to play 4 years, but the fact that it's so much guaranteed money, he's going to be 36 by the time he takes a snap this year. Coming off of a major injury, I think he's maybe 2 years, 3 at the absolute most. So maybe by that point, Penix will be good to go. But he's also an older quarterback in the draft, which is what I think is the confusing part for people is, okay, if you're going to take quarterback there, I get it, Penix is your guy, but you probably could have traded back and got Penix a little bit later because I think teams really like J.J. McCarthy, but I don't hate the pick overall. I think that Kirk, he's not going to be 100% to start the season. There's a chance that Penix could play early. So I'm fine with it, especially in that division because it's a dumpster fire right now.
I went on the Ed Robinson show the day before this draft. I talked about how I thought Michael Penix Jr. had a chance to go to the Falcons and do the Michael Vick of Atlanta all over again. Just more accuracy and a little bit more power. Not as much of a scrambler or as lethal on the ground as Michael Vick. But I felt it. I felt there's a match there. And I said there's a wild card controversy pick if New England doesn't scramble things up at the top. That this would be Michael Penix to the Falcons. And I was completely just throwing a left field comment. And I was getting so many messages from people that follow that show and Ed himself. Like, how did you know? How did you call it? Honestly, it was a complete guess. But I love the match. And the whole problem I have with it, Kenny, you hit the nail on the head, is Kirk Cousins just got this massive contract and all this guaranteed money. And what do you do with it? My only thought is that the injury, he is not going to be 100% to start the year, and they may go cautious into the season and start Penix for a bit and then have him learn under Kirk for a couple years or a year and see what happens, right? And then Kirk may be dealt. But it's going to be an interesting storyline. I do think it causes that, are they really okay with each other? Or are they, this locker room situation like Chris Connor saying. I do love the fit and the pick. Can you imagine when prime Penix and prime Bijan Robinson, if they both pan out, is going to be in Atlanta? Like, that is going to be crazy backfield to have to prep for. in Atlanta. Chris Connor, last 30-second rebuttal on Penix to Atlanta.
I mean, Al Greer pointed out in his comp, so I gave him credit for this. He said they loved him in the beginning. You know, the 40-yard dash in the pro day for them was the icing on the cake. They kept it very quiet, and they're going with the Green Bay model, which is always have somebody ready just in case, always be early rather than late on a quarterback. And after all these years, as I said, I understand the thinking of it. It's just, you know, for a first-time coach, man, you're putting a lot, you know, or a first-time coach for Atlanta, should I say. You're putting a lot of just pressure and drum for him to manage the whole thing and not have a team sort of just explode when there's going to be a quarterback controversy, which there will be a quarterback controversy.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree. We're going to segue here. We're going to talk a little bit about a man who deserves to be talked about just because he's won a couple Super Bowls and he's back with his team and probably tipping them back over the edge as favorites. Let's go ahead, Taylor Swifties. Our Swifties, we're going into it. All right. Travis Kelce signs his extension, 2 years, $31 million. And Xavier Worthy drafted by the Chiefs. Basically, puzzle piece meet puzzle piece. And the Chiefs stock up on offense all over again. Fastest player in the draft. Special teams extraordinaire Xavier Worthy. And then, of course, Mr. Foundational himself, Travis Kelce. Patrick Mahomes gears up, and the Kansas City Chiefs are back in business as probably one of those lethal offenses all over again. A missing piece, in my opinion, or pieces here that go along with their offseason additions. Guys, I love what the Chiefs are doing, so much so that I believe three-peat is going to be mentioned on this show throughout the year and going through next year. If they weren't already favorites going into next season, they're probably going to be a top 5 to top 3 to favorite for most analysts when it comes to the Chiefs becoming a dynastic run and winning 3 in a row. Kenny, does solidifying Kelce, solidifying the players they brought back, as well as their offseason additions with Xavier Worthy in the draft and others, solidify the Chiefs as its favorite for you for the Super Bowl next year?
Well, yeah, I mean, as long as one back, like, to me, they were the favorites. So adding Worthy is just icing on the cake. Don't know how anyone doesn't have Kansas City as the favorite.
I agree.
Like it's Brady-like is what it is. You just assume that the Chiefs are going to be at worst in the AFC Championship game and probably in the Super Bowl, and then we'll see who comes out of the NFC. I feel like we're at that point with the Chiefs.
Completely agree. Chris Connor, your take on the Chiefs. Are they the top favorite for you?
Yes, and to me, they were the biggest winners of the draft, basically on not just their draft, but how everything else in their competitors fell. Like the Raiders couldn't get their quarterback, so what do? They take a tight end. The Broncos reached for Bo Nix. The Chargers had to trade away a lot of things, and they didn't, trade down and get those multiple picks. So they're sitting pretty for, to me, it's a 2-year window in which the whole trinity is still there, which is Mahomes, Reed, and Kelce. Then after that, you're going to have to, cycle a new guy. I think Marquise Brown is the bigger addition rather than Xavier Worthy. I like Worthy, but Brown's going to be the focus point. And a sleeper with a Texas guy that I think we got to watch for, Jared Wiley. They got him in the 4th round. They love doing 2 tight ends. Noah Gray's been nice, but he's not as explosive as Wiley. And we could see Wiley have a sneaky good year for the Chiefs because he'll be with 2 tight end sets they love to run, and teams will focus on Kelce, leave him wide open.
No, I like it. I like the take. I'm glad we're all on the same page here. Well, I'm hoping this time next year we're talking quad Pete, and then we're talking about some things that just haven't been done in the NFL. But last but not least, our last NFL headline before we switch to the hard court and we talk some playoff action for the NBA. I'm doing this for you, Chris Connor. All right. Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders, having to make noise right now. A lot of locker room issues, a lot of players leaving. Talk to the people.
I'll start off. Is Shedeur Sanders a bit of a drama queen at times? Yes. Is he very talented? Yes. I think it's overblown. I mean, unfortunately, this is the new generation of kids with social media, with the NIL, with advertisements. So, look, this is what we got to get used to. And do I think, some teams be wary? Yes. But the good news is, unless you're Dallas, I don't see Deion Sanders leaving to coach an NFL team. And so that means he's not going to be with his kid every single day, every single week. He's going to be too busy in Colorado. So the good news is if we draft Shedeur, he'll be away from Dad. Dad'll be in his own section. You can worry about Shedeur in his section.
Yeah, I think that living in having a star father figure is tough, right? But I think Colorado's just in its own way, its own culture and fit. And I don't know why this is making such big waves. I guess because it's Deion Sanders. But Kenny, for you, I mean, for me, it's not as big of an issue. You're always going to have players running their mouth in and out when you're having transfer portal issues. Is this a big deal for you when it comes to Shedeur in the draft?
With all due respect, I could not care less about this issue right now because we have not even started college football and we are still months away from it happening. We still have to watch a full college season of Shedeur Sanders to see if he's going to live up to the hype beyond around him. So until I see him take a snap week 1 of the college football season, Deion can kind of say whatever he wants. He's very LeVar Ball-like, but actually a talented person. And I don't really care about what he's trying to do here. I think the social media stuff's a little bit weird, but that's just Deion. He's an odd guy.
Yes, no. Do you guys think we're going to see Deion in the new NCAA game?
Oh, of course.
I think you're going to see a lot of people that play as Colorado.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I guess we'll see that quite a bit. I got to play as Deion as the coach. Yeah.
I took Colorado to the Natty, and then they won 5 games this year.
And they started 5-0. That's the problem. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna segue over to our NBA topics now. Of course, if you haven't been following along, we do have a stream team that we love to associate with. That's back with BCMG, but that stream team consists of a bunch of streamers we love. We're gonna feature them. Check out their names. Check out what they bring to the table. If you haven't seen them before, jot them down. But let me show you some of my friends and family that are still doing it on Kick, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch gaming. Check it out.
Yo, Jill going down the hill. Gonna go fetch Jack in his little pill. Jack feeling down and that's pretty bad. Let's go.
Oh, yo, clip that. Clip that headshot. Nice.
Oh!
A pistol. What the Okay, that didn't count.
Woo! Let's go, baby. Clutch it up. Yeah, I like it.
What? No way. Did that precision just kill me?
Let's go!
Nice, Papa.
Papa with the clutch kill at the end. Let's go.
Oh, I missed. That was bad.
Got him.
Nice.
Man, I'm going to go steal their shit.
That is definitely green.
You're dumb and it's orange.
We're both wrong, red.
I could get that solo if I tried it a couple times, but we'll come back to it.
I'm fucking dick right now. Holy shit. Like, I fucking suck right now.
Yeah, I can go.
Round 2 NBA headlines and playoff news is what we're going to go with next. We're going to wrap up tonight's show with the hardwood. Let's talk a little bit about tonight's final segment, and we wouldn't be here without our other sponsor, longtime sponsor, Taquito Express. Get all you can eat tacos for $10.99 down in beautiful Brownsville, Texas. If you haven't tried it already, it's thebomb.com. 10% off if you mention ITL. Just tell them ITL at the counter, say Ernest sent you, and they'll know exactly what you're talking about. We took our guys down there. We had our full BCMG squad down there, and they tried the challenge, could not get past 46 tacos. They had to pay for it, and that was okay. And by pay for it, I just mean they had to use the restroom because they only had to pay $10.99. It was all you can eat. But it was wonderful, guys. Taquito Express, Brownsville, Texas, spring break or summer is coming up. Go down there, go have a good time at the beach, and then go stuff your face. Okay, we're going to start off with in the West, right? Suns got swept, and it wasn't even pretty. The Suns looked tired going into that series. They were banged up going into that series. There wasn't really a huge fight. Anthony Edwards, for those who don't know who I'm talking about, was just phenomenal. The Timberwolves play like the team that should be probably running the West other than the Nuggets right now, and they had their stars and their rotations look great. Kenny Cotterill, right? Suns get swept here. I'm shocked because I thought there would be a bit of a fight. It seemed like there was no fight whatsoever. You're not shocked. You're not shocked at all. Why aren't you shocked?
Because super teams are dead. Like super teams don't work in the NBA anymore. Offloading your entire 4 through 12 to just have 3 guys that you pay a ton of money does not work. Because with those 3 guys, no one wants to give up the ball and play the Bosch role or any number of roles like the Draymond Green role that we saw with big threes in the past. You had 3 ball-dominant guys and just thought that you could all take turns shooting 20-plus times a game and that was going to be enough. And they just went and paid Grayson Allen. They don't have any draft picks until 2030. They have new owners, which I don't know if you saw the new owner's quote today, how he said, well, there's like 26 of these teams that would kill to have our roster. And it's like, no, there's not, because there's more teams left in the playoffs. Like, people don't want this roster. It's so poorly constructed. You thought that Nurkic would be enough of a role guy to help get you over the hump. And Ant-Man just said, you guys are done. Like, I'm taking over the series. And after I watched game 1, it was I isn't winning a game. Like, I just don't see it. And that's why they swept.
I was completely shocked. My underdog NBA Finals pick was Sixers Suns because I thought there's too much talent. Like, yeah, it was. I said underdog. I did mention underdog. I said underdog. I didn't say favorites. My underdog picks. Chris Connor, are you as shocked or as me, or are you kind of like, hey, this is what we should expect from a team that just didn't look like it flowed all year, like Kenny? Is that a mute?
I hate to use the word the Suns, but Nick, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah,
I can hear you. Yeah, we got you.
All right, so I was gonna say I hate using this word because it sounds so Spanish, but god damn, the Phoenix Suns are just they are a team of losers, and you hate saying that, but it's like you look at him, it's like Kevin Durant has never had who screams winning player tough. You have, your third player is what, Bradley Beal, a guy who Golden State couldn't wait to get rid of, or Washington couldn't wait to get rid of. I mean, it's a perimeter jump shooting team that is nobody wants to do dirty work, and they're old. I mean, Kevin Durant and Eric Gordon and even Bradley Beal have all been in the league for 10 years. Even Isaiah Thomas has been in the league for 11 years. Thaddeus Young. This is an old team in terms of the bigger leaders. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. They had no height, not much rebounding. The better players are perimeter guys who don't like doing the grind work. So, I'm not shocked.
Yeah, I am shocked, and I was surprised. It looked like they were a little dead in the water already in game 2. This leads me to the final topic on this series or this team, right? Kevin Durant, right? This is, what are you doing now? If you're KD, I'm giving you one option here. Let's say stay in Phoenix or go somewhere else. I'm going to give you guys the option here. I know where I would be going. It's not staying in Phoenix. So I'm going to tell you where I think you should go, but I'm going to leave that to y'all. Where do you think Kevin Durant should be playing basketball next season, Kenny Cotterill?
The only franchise that ever truly loved Kevin Durant. Do you know who that is, Ernest?
Yes, I do. That's exactly where he should be going for me too. But go ahead, Kenny. Where do you think it should be?
Kevin Durant is teetering on being the only superstar in NBA history to win championships and have no franchise that wants to retire his jersey. Because of what he did to Oklahoma City when he left to go to Golden State. And then he won in Golden State. And then guess what? Golden State won after he left. So they don't even really care that he was in Golden State. Then he couldn't get it done in Brooklyn, couldn't get it done in Phoenix. The only way to save Kevin Durant's legacy is if he goes back home to Oklahoma City and he wins a title in Oklahoma City. That is the only way. He doesn't even have to be the alpha on that team because to me, he's a little bit past his prime at this point. It's now Shea's team. But if he goes back and he becomes that second scoring option that they need, and they can make this work because they have all these draft picks, they can definitely bring in Kevin Durant because Phoenix has to recognize that this roster construction doesn't work. It's the only one that makes sense.
I completely agree. And Chris Connor, I'm not going to steal your thunder, but I am going to say that I completely agree. I think that is the right play. I think that is where you go. You go back home. You finish off at home. You win a title at home. You do what you were supposed to do to begin with there. Make it come full circle, and then finish off ring chasing if you want to end your career. If that's what do the T-Mac if you really want to, if you want to build up that number. But I think going home to OKC and doing that would be the right call. I think you would get a lot of love from people doing that, PR-wise and legacy-wise. Chris Connor, your thoughts on where Kevin Durant ends up next year? Another mute? Not playing, maybe?
He was just going to agree with us and say Oklahoma City.
Let's do that. Our next topic, which is going to be our final really debate topic before we highlight the rest of the NBA playoffs. Lakers get
I want to jump in. Ernest, I'm jumping in. Ernest, let me jump in.
There he is.
I'm jumping in. I know the perfect team for him. The LA Lakers. Let's embrace your inner heel. Kevin Durant's hated. Let him go to the Lakers. Him and LeBron, the ultimate FU combination. Just embrace the hate. Put Bronny in. You know what? Screw it. Because I don't think Oklahoma City really wants him. They don't like him. They don't want to give up pieces for him. I don't see any other team willing to just give up a young star for Durant. So let it be the Lakers. Let him go to the Laker lane. Him and LeBron. They could be the ultimate just a-hole power duo. Embrace the hate.
So in a hypothetical trade where Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant end up in LA just for the hell of it, just put the full FU team in there for all intents and purposes.
Yes,
this is
Bronny and LeBron, the ultimate double middle finger, FU to the league. Yes.
Now, Kenny, I saw this.
I want villains.
The only reason I mentioned Kawhi is because there was another episode where Chris Connor was like, send Kawhi to LA as well in a different segment. So I was like, okay, at this point, we're just going to send all the forwards that consider themselves elite to LA. That means James Harden goes to Phoenix and AD goes to the Clippers. And like this gets very head scratching contract wise. But I see what you're doing here, Chris Connor. I see what you're trying to play chess with. Just get all the forward elites you think are out there and just put them all on one team. And let Bronny run point at that point and just let it ride. Is that what you're trying to say?
If LeBron only is going to play for a team that has Bronny and you're the Lakers, just go with it. Just get Durant. Trade Anthony Davis for Durant. It'll hurt, but you know what? It's the ultimate FU. You can have the league, which they want to do is all they want to do is shoot threes. It's perfect for that team. They embrace the hate.
Yeah, they would never do that. But I appreciate the chaos you want to commit there, Chris Connor. I appreciate the chaos. And for Kenny's team, he's just going to not comment because he would never see that happen. He's a little
it just doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah,
so I'm just not going to go down that road.
Yeah, but in real life, the Lakers did get gentlemen swept, and they did have some fight. Right, there was some fight. There was more fight in the Lakers series than there was in the Sun series. That's for damn sure. But the Lakers ultimately fell to the Nuggets. Jamal Murray was a killer against the Lakers. Couple games where I thought he wasn't going to play, and then he pulls a game winner. Right, like it's like shit. What kind of bad luck is that? Kenny, it's your team. I'm gonna let you kind of analyze what you feel on this. But how do you feel about the Lakers' early exit?
Expected. I mean, I thought that it'd be a sweep. Best case scenario, 5 games. They put up more of a fight than I probably thought that they would. It's why you have to prioritize the regular season, because LeBron hasn't prioritized it since he won a title in LA. It's why they continually play in the play-in game, and then when they have to go on the road, it was cute when you were doing it playing a young Memphis team and you could win a series like that. Denver's in a league of their own. It's why they find themselves heading home. They weren't really all that close to winning a title. Like all these Laker fans that say, well, if we didn't run into Denver, it's like, well, you would have had to play them eventually. And it shows that you are not in the same class as them. So I'm not overly shocked. The roster is weirdly constructed. It is honestly a typical LeBron team, but he used to be able to really turn it on in the fourth, and he just doesn't have that gear anymore. It's just what happens when you're in year 21 of your career, I guess. So they were hopeful that Austin Reeves would really step up and be that third option, or that D'Angelo Russell would. And those just aren't those guys. Those are good role players, but you kind of need them to be more like Josh Hart, not like what they're wanting out of them, which is like a very good, like a Bradley Beal, honestly, is what they were hoping that a guy like Reeves would be, and he just doesn't have that gear.
I like the segue here because we're going to talk about the future of the Lakers. And Chris Connor, I'll let you start on this because I know it's going to be chaos. So let's just do it. Where's LeBron playing basketball next season and therefore after? Where's his? Let me rephrase the question. What would be the best fit for LeBron next season? What team is that? Do you feel?
It all depends on LeBron, though. I mean, if he checks his ego at the door, if he decides, hey, you know what? I just want to, play with my kid. I want to, literally be a team player. The best place for him to go would be like a young team. Maybe whether it's, I'm just spitballing here, Indiana, whether it's a team like, hell, I'll even say Oklahoma City, some team that, hey, they can draft his kid. They can stash him a bit. He can play. He can help, the rest of the team get to that next level, championship level. That'd be perfect. But it's LeBron. So he's going to go back to the Lakers. Ronnie's going to be on the team. It's going to be just another mess. So, God damn it. I know Kenny's shaking his head, but get the ring. Just be the FU team. You find a way to just piss off the fans. And admit it's the Los Angeles LeBrons.
They literally don't have the contracts to do that. Like, you're throwing out a hypothetical that can't happen.
It's the NBA. If they want to make it happen, they can make it happen. They can pull something out of their ass.
This isn't the WWE. Like, you can't just say they're going to make it happen if it doesn't work with the contracts. Like, I appreciate the enthusiasm, but it's just
there's got to be a skit out there that's just like, make it happen. Why I can't do it? Just make it happen. Make it happen.
The only contract that they're really offloading is D'Angelo Russell, and that still doesn't make sense in the contract situation. So I'm not too worried about Durant going there. He probably will re-sign. I also don't think his kid's even getting drafted this year. I don't think that's what's best for him in his basketball career. He still has transfer portal eligibility, and I just think that he'll probably re-sign with the Lakers, but on a short-term deal.
For me, guys, I think if Dallas doesn't win it all, I can see LeBron going to Dallas. I think there are some contracts that could make it work where LeBron and a couple pieces go for Dallas's 3 pieces and the contracts work. I tried to do some initial analysis because I know the contract deal making now is different in the NBA. Where
they have the role players to make it work. You could throw in Hardaway, you could throw in PJ Washington, Gafford. Like, they've got a lot of guys that are on like $15 million contracts.
Right.
With multiple picks to go with it.
It would have to be that they draft the Mavericks, draft Bronny, and then you put that package together and send it for LeBron, and then it makes sense. Then you have Kyrie, Luka, Bronny, Bron there in Dallas you would have a slew of different probably characters there. Probably
They'd
some
hang on
veterans.
to like Derek Lively and Exum and Derek Jones Jr., and it would be another poorly constructed LeBron roster, but you
Correct.
at least have Kyrie and Luka that could be your 1-2, and then LeBron plays the third spot.
Correct. I think that would be best case scenario if he's going to chase another ring. Outside wild card pick for me would be something like Orlando or Chicago, another big market team that hasn't won in a while that could use a centerpiece like LeBron that has young pieces growing, and maybe somebody turns into a Robin. But you would definitely be a downgrade from AD in both of those situations. So you'd probably hope that they do another transaction as well. But Dallas seems to be a really good spot. Kenny, I know for you, probably stay in LA as your big choice, right? Or do you feel like he fits somewhere else?
I don't particularly care. I think that the roster's really badly constructed and they're not winning a championship anytime soon. So he can stay and we can make another play-in game if he wants. But I think that they're better to probably let him go. I know that the Lakers just won't let that happen unless LeBron demands to be let out. But I don't know. I don't care that much. I know that their ship has sailed. LeBron accomplished what he wanted to in LA. He won a championship in 2020, and I'm content with that.
Yep. I love the takes. Guys, let's go down. Quick point of reference as we go through it. Western Conference, Thunder take out their rooms. They sweep. They move on in a not so highly contested game, which any takes on the Thunder Pelicans series that was really low key, just a dominance by the Thunder.
Brightest future in the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I completely agree.
I don't even think it's close.
No, I know Houston's a close second, but yeah, they're distant at this point.
I was waiting for you to slip Houston in there. As soon as I said it, I knew that, but Alperen Sengun, he's definitely better than Shea, so yeah.
Jalen Green, Menton. I mean, there's a big six there. We're not even discussing yet, but yeah, you're right. Whatever you want to say. Thunder, right? Yeah, sure. Close second, Houston.
I've never heard of a big six in the league. That's really impressive for them to not make the playoffs and have a big six.
I am making a shirt that's going to spell out Rockets with other names. It's going to be the Big
ITL's
Six.
Big Six with all their faces on it.
Matter of fact, I'm going to have that ready for the NBA draft. I'm going to say welcome to the Big Six to our lottery pick.
Good.
Celtics perform a gentleman sweep themselves. Celtics look pretty great even without Porzingis. Chris Connor, any thoughts on the Celtics?
Wake me up when it gets to the NBA Finals. I mean, it's just they're so much better than everybody else. And look, I feel bad for the Heat. No Jimmy Butler. No Terry Rozier. Then Jacques went down. It's like they're almost calling up CBA guys probably to play at that point. Like, all right, anybody else can play? Anybody? You from the stands, keep playing. Sit in the bench. It was a bad series.
Yeah, a lot of teams just kind of showed up in the playoffs. We saw the bigger teams go on. And last but not least, Pacers take care of business, win a 4-2 series over Milwaukee, but they were hampered by injuries. No Giannis, and Dame played half the time. Not really a huge statement series win, but I think the Pacers show that they took a step forward with their franchise, and Halliburton's just a stud. Kenny, do you think that the Pacers are a piece away from being true title contenders? I don't think they're title contenders today. Do you think they're one piece away?
I don't even think one piece gets them to title.
Oh, wow. You think they're a couple pieces away still?
I mean, you couldn't even beat Milwaukee in 5 or less games without Giannis. And
that's true.
Lillard missed multiple games as well. Like, you're basically playing Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez, and a bunch of role guys, and they still took you to 6 games. Like, they added Siakam, and he had a couple of good games in that series, but I just don't look at Indiana's roster and think, like, I don't even think Halliburton is a wins you a championship caliber guy. So unless that piece is you're going and getting like a Luka caliber player, then I just think that the Pacers are going to be fun. They'll probably be in the playoffs for the next 5 or 6 years, but nothing on that roster tells me that they're going to take that next step. And they're still light years behind some of the other teams for me. We know that whoever they play in the next round, whether it's Philly or whether it's the Knicks, like, I think that's a 5-gamer, and I would say that confidently.
Do you think that the Middleton-Brooks comparison to Halliburton-Turner is valid? But that's their best scenario, is it's a 1B 3 player on the Pacers that they still need that 1A stud?
Like Halliburton's slightly better than Middleton, but Turner is slightly better than Lopez at this juncture of their career, so it probably cancels out. But yeah, they don't have that next level guy. And I think that they were hopeful that a guy like Mathurin that they drafted would be. We'll have to wait and see. He still is very young, but I just don't see it quite yet with Indiana. They'd have to draft somebody because we know no one is electing to go to Indianapolis.
Right. I completely get you. Chris Connor, last 30-second take. Are the Pacers real to you?
I mean, yeah, Indiana's a nice team. I mean, to me, they're very like what the Celtics were before the Tatum and Brown emerged. It's like it's a team that can get to the conference finals, but that's their ceiling. They don't have that franchise guy. They don't have that top 20 player. And without one of those guys, it's a hard sell to get to the next level.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Chris Connor, everybody, Kenny Cotterill, myself, Ernest Silva. That was tonight's episode. We appreciate all y'all joining us tonight. We peaked out at around 32 people at a given time. We appreciate y'all so much, and we saw that number fluctuate, so you guys in and out throughout the night. Kenny Cotterill, welcome back, co-host of Season 5 ITL. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, my guy. Why don't you tell people where they can find you?
At HedgePod. I probably should pod, considering pod's in my name. Haven't really podded much recently, but I'll get back on track with that. Betting picks wise, we were up 11 units last month. It means if you bet all of our picks with $25, you'd be up nearly $300. So we're still red hot there. Hopefully Josh Hart can score 2 more points in this game and we'll cash his player prop tonight. And Ernest, as always, it was a lot of fun. And Chris Connor, good to see you once again.
Let me tell you, when you're following HedgePod, you're like this every night.
Give me a hell yeah!
My man, my man. Thank you, Kenny. Of course, you're a gentleman and a scholar. Chris Connor, you're back again. We talking some shop. Tell everybody where they can find your beautiful show.
You can check me out at thelastcallpodcast.com. I'm also on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, also The Last Call Podcast. Check me out. Tomorrow, we're dropping an interview with UFC bantamweight Garrett Armfield. Great guy on Twitter. Right now, on 2-fight win streak, and he talks a lot about just the mental health of UFC fighters, what they go through, and just having to sometimes, go back to your roots just to get, better to a place. Once again, it's thelastcallpodcast.com. Kenny, great talking with you, and Ernest, always a pleasure, good sir.
Of course, Chris, of course. And I'm excited. I probably should make a rekindle back on your show. It's been a little bit since I've been on your show, so we should probably get that going again. Guys, I'm your host, Ernest Doc E. Silva. You catch us into Lab Pod, mostly live streaming. We don't put our podcast episodes until NFL season is back live in action. But in the month of May, we do have some big episodes upcoming, schedule going to be released. And when that is, check out those names. It'll be on ITL this month and next month. We got a lot of prospects coming on. We got a lot of fun guests coming on. We've got the wonderful birthday NBA draft before we take our off season going into fantasy football. Thank you guys so much for following us tonight. Thank you so much love to the family inside the studio, all the special birthdays this week. We love you guys. We love everybody. You guys be safe. Hopefully your team's still dancing in the NBA playoffs or the NHL playoffs and you're having fun and you're not a Stros fan. Good night, everybody.